What's your advice to someone who is lost?
The opposite of addiction is connection, and I could never do this thing on my own.
I've been working since I was a kid, I just gotta keep my head.
That you're responsible for and that your name's attached to, do you feel like that gave you that responsibility to be better than you were? If you believe in yourself a little bit, you'd be surprised what could happen.
Yeah, I got them photo for real, running around, but I'm the passenger now, cause Jesus don't touch them.
Ready?
I'm ready.
I'm
dude.
excited for this song, bro.
Hell yeah. What's up, man?
All right, ready? Hold on. I got something for you.
Oh boy. Let's hear it. You got something for me.
Probably get demonetized for this, but it's fine. Not that I get monetized anyway.
Demon home.
First day out.
Back. Kid is back, man.
The kid is back.
They did.
I don't gotta give you an intro, bro.
No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Fusetti.
How are you?
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
You probably know.
What's up, man? You're out.
Yeah, dude. I'm out. I'm home. I wasn't, in state prison or anything. I was.
Put it a little closer here, by the way. Put it a little closer.
I wasn't in like state prison or anything. I was kind of just locked in my house, grounded for a few months. But yeah, I'm home. The last 6 months has been interesting. I've
Yeah.
This year has turned into be pretty stressful, you know what I mean? I've had a lot going on. But I mean, over the last 6 months or whatever it's been, I've learned a lot about myself, and moving forward I have a lot of things that I want to, show and do and
well, yeah. So to give anyone who doesn't know our relationship, me and Ty, we're best friends when I went to Temple. You're 24 now. You were what?
Probably 17 when we met.
We were young, so like
loose cannons.
We grew up in Northeast together. Yeah. So like Ty was, for lack of better terms, was like he was the guy. He was like the guy who was out all the time, and everyone knew who he was, and he was I'm trying to.
Seriously, I was. I was the fun kid that, you could tell to do this or do that. And, obviously I blame myself. I allowed a lot of images to be made about myself, and I made some stupid choices. But you know what? Yeah. I was young, I lived, and I learned, and I wouldn't be where I am or who I am without the things that I've gone through.
Well, and you were young, and your family situation was a lot different, and whether it was stuff that you had to deal with from just being born into that, or stuff that maybe choices you made, and you came to Temple at one of my parties that I had, and we got really close and became really good friends. But we were in an environment that was so different than where we are today. And like we were like in that party environment. We were drinking every weekend. We had people over every weekend, and like it was like that place that was so fun at the time. But like looking back on it, we're like there were great times. You know? And
we had a blast.
We had a falling out, and we had a falling out, and and then we obviously grew apart, went separate ways.
And it helped. I think it helped us, open up our own lives and branch out and develop our own, different skills in life. And from that, I don't know. I think we both realized how young we were, and the things that we were worried about didn't fucking matter. Excuse me.
Now, are you comfortable talking about like maybe some decisions you made that led to the house arrest, or like is there anything you don't want to talk about?
Dude, I'm an open book. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably know me, and you probably know most of it anyway. So let's get it. Let's dive into it. Growing up, I was a smart kid. Did a lot. I was cool. Did whatever. As I got older, I started branching out more with drinking and trying different things, and I was always a good kid. Always had good meanings and desires, but I had a strong lack of fear. Like I wasn't afraid to try things, and I wasn't afraid to go places and do this and do that. I wasn't worried about after factors, and it just led me through some stupid choices. I mean, I got into situations, and I was a fighter, you know what I mean? I always led to that. Some stupid choices I made, got me into some situations that led to my house arrest. And like I said earlier, I think I learned a lot from it. And looking back, like everyone always says like, oh, that feels like it was yesterday. But like things that happened like 5-6 years ago literally feel like yesterday for me. Yeah. So being stuck in my house for so long and having so much time to just genuinely think to myself. It was the most alone I've been probably in my life. And it really helped me open up and kind of understand who I am and what I want out of my life. And, I just want to be different than I've led to be. I've experienced most things you can experience by 24. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't have to go back and worry about, oh, what if I did this or that? Like, I've done it all, and I know what I want moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's progress, and I've been, doing it.
Yeah, and like one of the things I always wanted to be for you was like, besides the partying and all that, and like you basically lived with me for a while, and one of the things I always wanted to do was like be like a positive role model to you with anything. But I think the one thing I guess you can say you've learned is that you have to go through it to get over it, and like, and one thing I remember that you showed me the one time was when you took me to your mom's grave, and yes. I always think about that, like whatever.
Not many people have been there.
I know, and through everything that happened, like that's like the one thing I always come back to, because it was like the most true version of yourself. You know what I mean? Like when we're out, a lot of times, like speaking, back then we had to be different people. We had to be like, we had to keep the energy up. We had to, we were always having people over. I remember waking up at St. Patty's Day, just woke up normally with 35, 40 people in my house, and like Jerry giving me a tea light, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
We were just, things were expected of you and expected of me, and they weren't needed, and we didn't have to do what we did. But, we were young, and we wanted to be those people,
Yeah.
We wanted to be the people that people talked about.
But I'm even proud of you for like even sitting on this couch and like the things we're about to get into, which is your lockdown recipes, and like how you've gone from like wondering how you can get $50 in your hand to like now you like we're actually working together. And like that's another reason why you're on this pod too, is that we're doing our first tailgate together with Mara and Jewel, and
that's gonna be a great one, June 24th.
We were supposed to do a Morgan Mom one, but he decided to
he had to cancel on us.
But you started a business, Philly Lockdown Recipes, and you found like a real passion for food. And where did that come from? Did that come from how you even like came about like wanting to do that?
So I mean, I've always had a strong love of food, and I've always loved to cook. I mean, I've always found myself able to do it. Growing up, having younger siblings and parents that worked, so much overtime and late nights, I had to, step up and help out a lot with things like that. And I'm not saying I'm cooking 5-star meals for my family, but I got into it early, and then that led to eventually my first real job being at the Ashburner Inn. Shout out the Ashburner. I started off as a dishwasher and made my way into, cooking, and just the environment of being in a high intensity, high paced kitchen. It boosted such an adrenaline rush, and I loved it. And I was probably 17 or 18 at the time, and that was something I felt really, really good at. And I lost the, attention for it. I was focusing on other things in life, but coming down to, this past November, having to go on house arrest and deal with that, I just wanted to find ways to occupy myself and my time other than just, locking myself away, being miserable, and drinking by myself and going through things. Like, I didn't want to have to do that. I've done that so many times in my life, you know what I mean? That now, like I said, I was just trying to think of different things that I could do. So I just started cooking a lot more, and I would post it on Instagram. And, I remember the first thing I posted, I think, was like a roast beef sandwich or pulled pork sandwich or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I just went and saw my interactions on Instagram, and I saw like 200 people sent my story out. I was like, oh shit, people want to see that. And I don't know, it just felt so good, you know what I mean? For the first time in so long, I produced something, I did this, I organized it, and people wanted to see it. So it just led me to like, I don't know, I was just bored and I wanted to make an Instagram page for food. So I did it, and it got a pretty decent response when I initially started. And, I just tried my thing, took the leap of faith, and I realized how much fun it is. Like, my issue was always I couldn't work for somebody else. You know what I mean? I can be a hard worker, but just listening to someone else's laws and rules, it's clearly just doesn't abide well by me. You know what I mean? Right. So now taking that step to do my own thing, and, I get to control what's going into the food, and I get to control the time around it. And I don't know, it's just given me such more of an appreciation for it. And now my sights are set forward, and I'm excited to see what I have working in the future.
And what's your business called?
Right now, the page is Philly Lockdown Recipes. Thinking of rebranding a little bit, but that was the initial.
Well, when you need a
name.
logo, I'll make it for you.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into that.
But so when you were making because I see like your dips and all that type of stuff, and like it looks awesome, and so how did you like learn to like put that together?
With cooking, I'll be completely honest. One thing I suck at is recipes. Like I can't follow a recipe to save my life. You know what I mean? If I see something, like if I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and I see someone made something, like whatever it may be, like I'll just look at it and I'll say, all right, I want to do that. I want to try that. That looks good. Let's see how I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll look up, the basic initial ingredients that you need, but measurements, I don't know. I kind of just throw it all together and do my own thing as I go. Like it's a hard thing to track for me, but I don't know. I just love it. I get in such a zone. Like I'm sure you feel the same way when you're going to do a set, at a club or a bar. Like,
oh yeah.
You have an idea of what you're gonna do throughout the night, but once you're in that zone, like it takes over.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the zone is something that every single DJ, or even like someone like yourself, like strives for,
right.
Like to like.
That's what motivates you. That is where you get that
it's
raw, pure success.
It's like a drug,
dude.
You know
what I mean? It really is.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you can get.
I wanted to ask you too. I know we talked about your business, and you guys I'll have that linked in the description. I want you guys to order from him and check it out. I know you're bringing it back up, right? You're bringing it back.
Yeah, so
right?
I initially started the page in November, December, and I did a couple things for certain holidays, but I've taken, some time to really like break down things and work on myself, but expect big things for the summer. So that's all I can say.
Yeah, dude, for sure. We'll be doing a lot together in the future with any tailgates or anything business wise with that. But I wanted to ask you, this is our first real conversation in years, since everything that went on. And so I wanted to ask you, like, what are you most proud of about yourself today, sitting here today?
Honestly, like, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but the fact that I'm even here, you know what I mean? Like, I was blessed with such a good life. I mean, my parents, like I said, they've worked hard their whole lives to give me everything I needed. Went to Catholic school. I went to great schools, But I found myself in a lot of places that, people shouldn't get to in their life. And, I never was too great at handling mental issues and things like that. And just the fact that I felt like almost I was just floating by for so long, you know what I mean? Just going past, just not even knowing what I was looking forward to. Like the fact that I'm here now today, able to like talk about these things, these things. I'm approaching 25 years old coming up this year, and it's just such a blessing, and I'm so proud of myself that I'm here, able to talk to you and people about whatever. And now I have that motivation and that, that forward ongoing goal. Yeah. And I'm ready to never look back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's the cool thing about like why I wanted to even like just have you on is like since then, like it was funny. We were like celebrating your high school graduation and like, you're graduating high school, like, and like things like that. Like I know things are so unorthodox, and anyone who knows him knows that. And it's like to even just have you like today, thinking about like me and you on the phone talking about the tailgates and stuff like that. Like it's a stuff we never would have thought about like happening. And
no.
And so your family now, like what's your relationship like with your family now?
It's better than it's ever been, honestly. I mean, like I said, like, more than a lot of people, I went through a lot with my family, I was just in to be honest, a very dark degenerative phase. And I don't know, I just wasn't in a good spot. And my parents did everything they could to, help me out and keep me out of the path I was going down. But I was just so headstrong, you know what I mean? That now I look back and like I'm able to go out to dinner with just my mom or breakfast with my mom and just sit there and actually talk, you know what I mean? Not dread having to be in the presence of my family. Like I've grown such an appreciation for my family, and it's so awesome. Yeah,
and like I said, I just remember that being a huge thing, and like your dad calling me and texting me where you are and all that stuff. And like, dude, what did that stem from? Because I know you had like a pretty good like childhood.
I did. I was, my mother passed away when I was a baby, that was drug related. So that always lingered in my head, but I was blessed with a mother that has been here to raise me from day one till now. You know what I mean? She's been here helping me out doing everything that you can above and beyond to give me that family aspect. And like I said, I've had a great life. I never had to struggle too hard for things, you know what I mean? Like, there were times, but my real struggle came when I just was on my own. Like, when I took it upon myself to just isolate myself in life. And looking back, like, my mental health in, you know, my younger years in high school, it was just such a joke. Like, I overlooked it so much. Like,
yeah,
I didn't care about myself like that. Like, now I'm finding that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because it wasn't cool to like care about any of that. It wasn't, you know, it was like but that's like everyone in high school. It's like you want to fit in somewhere. You know what I mean? And something you were really good at is like you knew a lot of people. Right. Like, anytime we went down the street, you had a place for us to stay, or anytime we needed people over for a party, you knew people to come over, and they might not have been like the best people, but they were just heads. You know what I mean?
How I look back on like those aspects of my life is, you probably know my name. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're from around here, you probably know my name. And I'm just one of those known people, and I hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate being known because I'm known for the wrong things.
Yeah.
So
we would go to like these house parties, like, and you would like, you're a shotgun of full locos and crazy shit like that. And I'm like, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
like
I mean, I never had that self-respect. You know what I mean? I just thought, I never also thought about like the repercussions of these things. You know what I mean? Like the things that would happen to me physically, mentally, like emotionally, like legally, everything. Like, I never thought about it. I was always, you know, the kid that everybody knew and who knew everybody. You know, I always had so many friends. But looking back on that, like, how many of those relationships were ever substantial? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
From that era, the amount of people that I talk to on a daily basis, I could probably give you a 0, maybe 1.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it's my own fault. I didn't focus on the people that, you know, were truly there for me and truly giving me that real friendship. But it's my own fault. But I found where I am, and I have people in my life that motivate me every day.
And that's the beauty of being young, is like now you're able to build that back up, and you can reinvent yourself into who you want to be. You know, you can still be out, having fun, and do whatever. But like now, we're all older, so now your circle may be smaller, but your priorities are more focused.
Yeah, 100%.
And as a kid, like, I can't sit here and lie to you and say that everyone like goes through stuff like that. But like, I noticed about you, and I think people get vouch for you always took it to another level, which, you know, what was, I don't know why it was, and I guess that's why I'm asking too, is like, why do you feel like you had to like isolate yourself?
I don't know. I've totally started to realize, like, back in those days, like when I was younger, I was, you know, honor student, like playing sports, multiple sports, you know, National Honor Society. I was a mentor in high school, shit like that.
Oh,
like,
shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. I just I don't know what it was. Just something changed in my brain, like in my head, and I don't know. I just felt like that was the person I needed to be, and then it just led down such a bad, you know, spiral. And looking back, it's like an embarrassing period of my life almost, you know, just knowing what people think of me, like, compared to what I really am. And I don't care. I don't give a fuck what people think of me. Sorry, you can edit that out if you want, but I don't give a fuck what people think about me. Well, you know what I mean? And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, isolating myself and being forced to isolate myself was amazing, because that dissociation with my own self and my own, like, life has really, really opened up my eyes to what's going on, like what I've been doing and what I need to be doing. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude,
it's just such a surreal feeling. Like, it's almost like lucid dreaming. Like, I know what I have to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can picture that future aspiration, and I wouldn't have these goals and have this mindset and this mentality right now if I didn't have these last however many months. Like,
life made the choice for you. Sometimes life chooses for you before you do.
Right. And I'm glad and I'm blessed, because some of the situations I've put myself into, like, I've counted my blessings a million times over, and the fact that I've still gotten them, you know what I mean? Like, it really makes you, like, cherish these things that whether I had a decision in it or not, like, it was the most beneficial aspect for me.
Yeah. And everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? And like, you can be one of those cases that, you know, when you are, you know, let's say for what you're pursuing right now, if you're like a chef at a restaurant, or you're at somewhere like, you know, something along those lines, you have your own business and you're successful, it's like, you can look back on where you were and use that as part of your story.
It's my motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And own that shit.
I don't care what anyone says. Like, I've had a great life, but I've had the lowest of the lows that I can imagine for myself, or You know what I mean? So I mean, being able to like look back and even just like the progress I've made to like today, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I've done anything substantial, but being able to look back on like where I was a couple years ago and what I was doing with my life, like, it feels good to have this forward aspiration. And like you said, like just looking back every day, like it's my motivating factor. You know what I mean? Yeah,
man, exactly. And it's like you're never getting, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. That's my mentality on that, is like if you're not getting better with anything, you are absolutely getting worse. And that's where like you're getting better with your maybe things you're working on now. And like, and he talked about like some of your lows, but like what are some of the highs that you felt while being locked down and now being out? Like we're filming this on May 31st and you got out May 30th, right? Like you were able to leave your house May 30th.
Right, correct.
So like, what are some of the highs, before we dig deeper, but what are some of the highs you had when you were able to sit and think and like reflect on your life?
Looking back, over the last 6 months?
Yeah.
Or just in life in general?
So we can say the past 6 months, because I know that's what really helped change you, was like these last 6 months.
Well, the last 6 months, I've really been bunkered down, keeping solo for the most part. I've had people, there checking in on me and talking to me. I had my family. I had my friends always there checking on me and whatnot. But I didn't have the, support I expected. And that's kind of what spiraled the isolation. But, keeping to myself for so long and doing so much in the house, it really, like, opened my mindset up to, like, the potential I have and the talent that I have in all these different aspects. Like, I don't know, I just started diving really deep into music, and I've gotten back in touch with my love of music, and you're one person that can vouch for that. Like, music is one of my saving factors.
That was always something.
That was one of the things that connected us from the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Music was always like a duel.
Blackberry chain smokers. If you're at one of my parties, you would know the
flipping
music.
Tables in the basement every time Closer comes on.
Yeah, man. Those are good times, though. They were good times.
They were.
But
that's the thing. Like, we can look back and say that, like, we weren't in a great spot in our life, but they were still great times for what we were going through and what we were doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like, we're not going to sit here.
I'm not going to sit here and tell people, like, I had this terrible life and I was just some fucking piece of shit.
No, we had great times. Our parties were fun. Like, the house was a great time.
The people I met so many people through that have introduced me to new things in life. It was definitely an experience we needed.
We were young. We had a lot of fun. We did our thing. Whether like just in that era, I guess we'll say that era. It was a great time. But I think like what we kind of hit on is like just the extra parts of it that led to, like, instead of like just going home and then calling it a day, there's certain whatever, but yeah, we had fun, man. We can reflect on those times, and they were always good times. And the beauty of it, though, is that it's something we are able to look back on. It's not like we still are in that house, or like we didn't. We moved on.
I mean, you could probably ask anybody from the Northeast. Like, they've all had similar, experiences as we have. So yeah. I mean,
when did everything come to the breaking point of, like, you were put on like house arrest, right? So when did you find out about that?
When did I find out I was going on house arrest?
Yeah.
I found that out in September of this past year.
Okay.
So I went on house arrest for, I'm not going to speak too much about it, but I got into a fist fight, group fight a couple years back on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, whatever it was. It's a big drinking thing, and somehow it came back to me, and this was just a fist fight from years ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the pandemic, things got pushed back, and there was a lot of discrepancies within the case, and it just took so long. So my life's been on hold from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this past September, we were, expecting differently. But that's when I found out, and I was just like, you know what? It sucks that I just waited 4 years of my life just to hear, I have to go through this.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I made choices when I was younger. I made choices to put myself in situations, and I take responsibility for things that I've been at fault with, and it's a part of my life. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of it. I'm not, embarrassed by it. I've made decisions just like everybody else has.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just had some pretty shit luck, and I put myself in some bad spots.
Yeah. And do you remember the moment that like you decided to change your life for the better? Like, was there like a moment where you're like, dude, I need to like figure this out now, or I'm like fucked?
Yeah. I'd say throughout this year, the year 2023, I've just had so much going on with, different family members, dealing with things and, people, relationships, things like that. And one thing I've come to realize is like, no matter who it is or what the situation is, like, time is the most valuable thing that someone can give you. And I don't know, I just started realizing like a lot of things in my life were crumbling around me, and it was because of myself, you know what I mean? So having all this go on and like using that as my motivating factor, like I just realized like, look, like I'm not a kid anymore. Like I'm an adult, and I have to do what I have to do every day to like make those goals that I have achievable. And like, I don't know, just taking value of other people, like realizing how valuable other people's time is, made me realize how valuable my time is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I should value my time and not just give it to anybody and everybody like I have for so long. And I think that's really where it all just like started sparking off. Like, just realizing and kind of recapping the years of like how I've interacted with people and how they've interacted with me. Like, I don't know, I just have to be more selective, and to be successful, you need to be selective.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, bro. And like, because I remember for a while, you like were sort of forced into these situations where you had to do certain things or, to get by. And, like in terms of like, well, you would stay with me because you weren't able to stay at your house and things like that. And like, do you look back and like think about like those types of experiences that you had, and do they help you like today?
Yeah, I look back on those moments and it's just like, it's just humbling. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I just found myself in so many different places and like with a loss of direction or lack of direction. And I don't know, I really think, I don't know.
You kind of had to like hop around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I never felt comfortable in environments, you know what I mean? I had a great home life. I didn't feel comfortable being home. I think I looked at it when I was younger as a stem of independence, you know what I mean?
Like you wanted to be independent.
Right, like that's how I looked at it when I was doing all that, but like looking back, it was the wrong way to go about things, you know what I mean? You can have your independence while still like
living at home,
caring about yourself and taking care of yourself and those around you, and like respecting the people around you. I mean, I don't know.
Looking forward, what are you most excited about now?
I'm just excited to finally look at life through a different lens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And treat myself with the care and respect that I haven't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've lacked that in so many ways, you know. I let my physical health, slow down on me, and that's a big thing that I've been doing lately, working out, getting back into that physical, healthy routine. I don't know.
What are you looking forward to now that you're out of the house?
Not being in the house. I mean, just the little things, dude. Like being able to go get lunch by myself, without having an excuse to do it,
Right.
Being able to go to the store and do this, or being able to stay out past a certain hour, or,
it's crazy,
just
man.
to work on myself. That's really what I'm excited for, is just, I've spent so much time not working on myself, breaking myself down and trying to work on other people, that now, like, I'm excited to do what I have to do in my own life and take those aspirations and make it more than just a goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know what I want now, and I know what I want moving forward. And I use the fact that my past is so blurry and so, overlooked for myself to motivate me, because I don't want to look back in 20 years and say, well, I don't really know what I wanted when I was 24, 25. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I want to be able to say I knew what I wanted and I got what I wanted.
Right. Have you had a conversation? And like, it's funny because like I got so many questions because like we haven't talked in so long, and like, have you talked to your parents about like because like I said, for people who do not know you, like you had a complete 180 from who you are. So like now I see someone with like aspirations and goals, someone who like I truly like care about, and like someone that, you know, this like came such a long way. And so did you ever have that like conversation with your parents about like just who you've become?
No. You know what? I haven't, because I still won't accept who I am yet. You know what I mean? I'm not happy with where I'm at yet. I'm very happy with where I am compared to where I've been. Yeah. But I'm not where I want to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, today is May 31st, 2023. I mean, ask me again in 6 months and I'm going to be a whole new person. I'm not content where I am. I'm happy where I am, but I'm not content, and I want more and I want better, and that's what I'm going to get.
Is there anything you would say to someone like from the past? Like if someone from back then saw you today, what would you like? Not that anyone's opinions matter, but just for people who knew you back then and may have lost touch with you now, is there anything you would say to them about who you are today?
Your mind is probably made up, so no, I don't think I owe anybody an explanation. You know what I mean? I know who's in my life now, and the people that were in my life compared to the people that are in my life. There's very few people that have been in both of those conversations. You know what I mean? Yep. So I cherish those people, and to the people that, you know, knew me when I was younger or knew me before compared to now, like, think what you want, but you know, actions speak louder than words. I can sit here and tell anybody everything. Right. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's not going to change anything. Yeah, I don't care what people have to say. Sure. I don't care what people think. I just know that my goals are where they are, and I'm moving forward.
I like that a lot.
People can worry about my past all they want. Yeah. I'm not going to worry about it.
I like that a lot, bro. And I really respect you for answering like that, because, I mean, that's partially why I asked too, is like, because I feel like a lot of people in this world feel like they owe everyone an explanation, when in reality it's like you owe yourself to you deserve to treat yourself right, no matter what. Right. You know what I mean? And listen, like I can like sympathize with you on that 100,000%. You know what I mean? And when it comes to like, is there anything new you picked up mentally in terms of like a philosophy in life? You know, and like with like just a mentality or something you tell yourself every single day, or is there anything you really take with you that you've picked up?
You know what? I've kind of come to realize in my own actions and my own thoughts, like sometimes, you know, I've always been the person that would initially react. I was a reactor. Okay, let me start that over. I was one that would react to anything before thinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. One thing I've definitely taken the time to work on, and like, still not there. I still have to, you know, work things through. 100%. But one of the things that I try to do now is just focus on staying calm. You know what I mean? Staying collect. Mm-hmm. You know, like many other people know, I would initially hear something, react, and blow up. And that's led me to, you know, a lot of the situations I've screwed myself over with in life, is not knowing how to react to things. And I think now I have a better understanding of, like, you know, appreciate something before you think about it. Take it in, dive through it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
think logically and less emotionally, because
I know how I am, and I know the limits I can reach and that I don't want to reach. So to do that, I have to be conscious at all times, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And like most of the times, like when you act emotionally, it feels good when you're typing that or you're saying that over the phone or saying to that person, but then like 5 minutes later, you're like, shit, like that's a human being, or, you know, you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to say that.
Right. And that's like, you know, a story of so many things in my life. Like, I've continuously chased, you know, many people out of my life for reactions like that, and, you know, just not being able to grasp situations. And you know, one thing I was never good at was stepping outside of a situation and like really looking at it from an outside point of view, like not your point of view, not mine, but someone else's. Like, what is going on here? And something I was never able to do, and it led me to some bad choices. And, you know, like I said, I've chased people, I have lost people, and I'm man enough to accept the things I've done, you know what I mean? And move forward, realizing more optimism.
Going through those situations you've had, the ones that we you know, like, we obviously won't get into them, but the things you may have done or gone through, do did you ever think about those moments and think to yourself like I need to fix it? Like, or were you one of those people that was like, I'm a lost cause, fuck it? Like, were you just like...
I always had hope for myself. I never necessarily gave up hope and considered myself a lost cause, because I mean, at the end of the day, I do things in extreme, but I've never done anything, you know, too far gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do have moral boundaries of certain things that I haven't crossed and I couldn't cross. So in these like moments of like low points in my life, bad decisions, things like that, I don't know. It's just like, oh fuck, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like, can't catch a like. I would always blame outside factors. You know what I mean? I would never take full responsibility for things I did until recent years. I mean, I've definitely worked on that, and I think people that have been around me can almost vouch for that. But it's just, I don't know. Sometimes when I get myself into a situation, like I just don't process things, and you know what I mean? Like I just think of any way out of it, or any way to just suppress it or anything. Yeah. And that's something that I've fought with in every aspect of my life, like emotionally and mentally, like with everything. I'm so quick to reject and suppress things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because whether or not it's your fault or not, you're still going through it. So it's like, I understand that 100%. Right. And you know what I mean? Because like, you just want to like forget it, get it out of your mind, get it out of the way. Because like, all right, get it, I'm over it. Like, it's fine. But one thing I did want to say to you that we've never really talked about is that, like, I'm like sorry, and you know why?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and I wanted to wait till a little bit into the episode to talk about this, but like I truly am sorry, and like that whole situation was just like something you can't really explain. And like I was someone who like wanted to save people, like if you could tell, like I always wanted to fucking save people. And I thought I could save you, and then I thought I could save this person. And I just want to say I'm sorry, because it's like, because I know that's what truly broke our friendship, like 110%. I'm not naive to not
no matter where our relationship was at that point. I mean, we were so young. Yeah, you know what I mean. Looking back, like we were just so young, and like you don't realize that. People go through that a lot, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it sucks. But I never wanted to hold a grudge with anyone over things like anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to look at myself as a spiteful person. And, you know, we had our falling out for years, and we fucking felt however we felt about each other, you know what I mean? Like, but looking back, like, it was just one of those situations, like many others in my life, that like I asked for, you know what I mean? I brought things upon myself, and like I said to you before we started today, like one thing I'm starting to understand is everybody's human. You know what I mean? Yeah. I make a fuck ton of mistakes. I know other people do too. You know what I mean? Like, I've done different kinds of things, you know what I mean? But that doesn't change the fact that we're all human, and things happen. And many of those situations in my life I look back on, and like I have to take the blame for these kind of things, you know what I mean? Because just where I've put myself in my life, and like the way I've handled situations mentally, physically, like
we all just got so close so fast, and we've known literally everything about each other. And I think that is what led to a lot of the things that happened in the entire situation entirely. Right. You know what I mean? From fucking being at his house when that whole situation went down, and like we just saw so much, and just so much shit just happened. We were so young, like you said, and you know, I just never gave you that apology you deserved. You know what I mean? Because it was, to me, it's always an awkward thing to talk about, because I know I was in the wrong, and I'm always willing to admit I was in the wrong, and I just truly, like, as a man, like, I apologize for that. And like when it comes to that type of stuff, I always try to like forget it or not acknowledge it, because I, like, you know, it's like something you have to like internalize and think about. And, you know, and I have been, that part of me, and just my gut knew that a part of me was wrong, because me and you had that such a close relationship where we've like picked each other up when we were down, and we, you know, granted the environment was a high energy environment, but when it came down to it, like, I stayed at my house, like, and you helped me through things that I may have needed. Like, remember you over to clean my house when you surprised me, like shit like that. And it's like, for me, I threw that away, you know, and you know, a part of me was also like maybe we aren't good for each other. Maybe like we've grown apart, or maybe you may not have been good for me, or maybe I'm not. And because like when we were together, you know, we so much is going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
And sometimes
we never had that time to dive back.
Yeah, and I might have been like, in my head, I think I was just like, maybe it's time for me. Maybe I'm like, maybe we've grown apart. Maybe because a lot of times, like with my house, I was just like, I kind of came to the conclusion that I thought that people were using me, and I never thought it was you. But
well, I do want to cut in before we continue.
You can cut in.
Like you said, you're apologizing to me, but I think it also, you know, opens up the conversation for me to apologize to you as well. Back in those times, like you said, how you said you felt used. I mean, looking back on it, like I never intentionally meant to use anybody.
Yeah.
At any point of my life. Really, I don't, and I haven't. But looking back, like, you know, I know how you felt. I know that you felt used, and I didn't help the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I acted, you know, how I acted with things, and we had a great friendship. We really did. And we took that time between us to separate. And I think it opened both of our mindsets up to, you know, help us, you know, space out and create our own identities. And I think that was a big part of that. I think just looking back on it all, like, to think of how, like, I don't know, how our emotions flew back then, like, in those situations, like, looking back on it, it was so unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, but I do feel I have to apologize to you for, you know, all the things that we went through, you know, all the fighting that happened at your house, and, you know, things getting broken or stolen, and people, you know, just leaving no care for, you know, cleaning up and things like that. I feel like, you know, I did try my part for that, but I didn't do nearly what I could have, and I didn't appreciate what was actually being offered, you know, because aside just a house to party at, like, you know, it was a really great friendship that we had. We dove into a lot of things, you know what I mean? Like, our connections were great, but you know, our things just started going wrong between us, and it led to, you know, other things happening, and it gave us the necessary space we needed. Yeah. Like, look at us now. I mean, we're on a podcast. We're, you know, we're doing work together in the future. We grew up, you know what I mean? And there's always room to continue growing. And, you know, that's one of those, you know, relationships that I had that I cherished back then with you. You know, really did help me, you know, grow and learn a lot of things in life. And having that rekindle now at a later date, you know, we're older, we've matured a little bit. It sounds like we're talking about getting back together after a breakup.
Kind of like I think I'm gonna think that's what it is. And I fully accept your apology, like my man, love you, buddy. But now, like, I think what happened with me, and my biggest issue and insecurity, not insecurity, is that I try to make everyone else happy, and I knew that by having people over, like, granted, I can fully say this, that I've had people come in my life during that time that shouldn't have, and that's not, and that it is what it is now. Like, granted, completely different place. In retrospect, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, in the environments I didn't want to be in, but I told myself that I knew it was making other people happy, and, you know, I don't like to be the person who hurts people's feelings. And, like, as a 19-year-old, like, you don't really think about what it can lead to. And, you know, and one thing I also cherished was our friendship, and, like, me, like, not really me, like, I did a lot of things because I know, like, that you wanted them and other people around me to wanted them, and partially I did too. I mean, I thought it was cool as shit to be the house that everyone went to, you know what I mean?
We were kids.
We're kids.
Everyone wanted to be talked about.
Kids, like, exactly. And just know that everything that I gave you was from me. Like, everything that I gave was like an extension of, like, how much I cared about you, and, like, what I thought of you. And, like, no matter what anyone had to say or whatever anyone thought, I always knew, like, I knew who you were when we weren't partying. Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, it's crazy now that we're 8, you know, was that 6 years ago, 5 years, whatever, however long ago, a long time ago. And,
we
like,
had some time now.
And we're able to, like, move on from it, and now we're in a better place, and you're getting out of whatever your current situation, and you've come a long way from that, and you've grown from that. And even just, like, as a person, I think, like, having this isolation, I think, is what is good for you. And, like, you have people you can talk to, and, like, friends and shit like that, who you can, like, reconnect with or connect with, and like essentially kind of just not say start over, but like kind of.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm starting from a different level. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm not starting over in the sense like I'm starting back from where I started off beginning to begin with. I'm picking a different spot to start now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm picking to choose myself in a better environment.
Yeah.
Put myself in a better spot, in a
Yeah.
better place,
Yeah.
around better people. One thing that you've always said that's always resonated with me was you are who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? And that's always stuck in my head and always drove me home, you know? And now it's so prominent to me. You know?
Yeah.
You were asking about a philosophy, like that's something I try to like live by now. I don't want everybody in my life anymore.
Yeah.
I had that phase of my life where I wanted to be known by everyone.
Dude.
And I did it and I'm done with it. You know what I mean? I'm ready to move past it.
Yeah, and that's good. And like, cause dude, I had that same thing. Like, because as much as like we wanted that, like we got it. And then, you know, I wanted the same thing too. Like I wanted to be like the guy, like that guy.
Right. And no matter what, I just always wanted more. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I think isolation has really helped kind of give me like the ego death I needed.
Yeah,
realistically, like, to put it plainly,
shit.
like
yeah,
I had way higher goal, or I can't think of the word. I thought way higher of myself than I should have. You know what I mean? Like for so long, like I thought I was here when really I was here. You know what I mean? Like, and looking back, like I'm ready to, like, I can admit that and I can accept that.
Yeah.
And just know moving forward, like, I don't know.
Well, bro,
I'm not who I was.
we put ourselves in, and I put myself in an environment that wasn't always, you know, healthy to me as a person. And then, you know, and then you also did the same thing. And like at the end of the day, it's going to catch up with you no matter what, whether it's through legal situations or through mental situations or health situations. Like it's always going to catch up to you. And that's why that shit's so true, because when you put yourself around people that are doing shit, or like people that like are better than you, or like in terms of like, let's say like you want to, like, say for example, like for your cooking, like you want to put yourself around people who know a few more things than you do. Right. So then it makes you want to elevate yourself. And that's what, like,
you never want to be, you know, the smartest person in the room. For sure. Basically.
Yeah.
With that conversation.
And yeah, it's funny because we always had these conversations, bro. We always talked about that shit.
We were doing podcasts before podcasts were a thing, dude.
Yeah, for real. But
sitting around for hours.
Yeah, man. So like, I guess I have to ask, when it comes to how you're moving forward, and let's say a younger kids watching this, and a 17-year-old, 19-year-old, like I gotta ask, even someone like our age or our peers, like people we know, like I know a lot of people that we know are gonna watch this, and like, and so.
Dude, getting hell in the group chat soft tonight.
Yeah, bro. So, yeah, you know what though, man? Because they'd all do the same shit though, man. So like, what would you say to those people like who maybe need a little bit of guidance, or people who are going through the shit that you went through? Because I know, granted, I'm fully aware of the fact that you still have shit you're going through, and there's shit you need to fix, and you're not perfect, and you're not there yet. Right. Neither the fuck am I. But the reason why I ask is because I also saw where you were.
Right.
And, you know, you've come a long way, and it's also super important to acknowledge where you're at and acknowledge how far you've come, because if you don't, then you just kind of get numb to it and you get complacent. And so if you're able to acknowledge the little steps as big steps for yourself, that's how you find what I want next. How can I move on to the next big thing? So I want you to tell people watching, like, what would you say to someone who is struggling with, like, maybe they're in a bad situation, or they in their head, or with life, or whatever life has thrown at them? Like, what would you say to someone like who was where you were?
To, you know, anybody that, you know, it'll help or anything like that, I look back on, you know, the times where I was going through so many things and everything, you know, bad times, good times, whatever it may be. And the only thing I can say is take care of, you know, yourself. Like I just said before, like, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah. When
you surround yourself with yourself and really get into that personal, like, next level conversation with yourself, you really learn a lot of things about yourself. So you always have to stay in tune with yourself. One thing I can say is I lost touch with my mental health and who I was as a person, and that led me down so many bad paths trying to find who I was. But you can't find who you are doing other things outside of yourself.
Yeah.
You are who you are, and only you can find that. You know what I mean? Whether it takes you 8 years going on benders every weekend to start figuring out who you are, or, you know, maybe you get in trouble with the cops, or, you know, you get in trouble at home, like to the kid out there who got grounded by his parents for drinking this weekend down the shore. Like, don't look at that and, you know, just brush things away. Like, I'm not saying everyone who drinks has a problem, but the mindset of what we grew up with in the Northeast is just, we're the outlier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nowhere else drinks the way we do from such a young age. And it's just, it's normalized. And I don't care who does what. Do what you want to do. But just make sure that when you're making these life decisions, you always have to step back and just really appreciate yourself and think for yourself, and not through your actions or through other people. Like, you have to think through yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Absolutely.
Just having that time to really break down and go from the guy that was the party friend that everybody wanted to see out at the bars every night, like, to being the guy who's stuck in his house, you know, going through whatever he's going through, has no one coming to check on him, texting him. Like, you really humble yourself. And I don't know, if I looked back and would have taken more care of my mental health and addressed things properly with a good head, I think I'd be, you know, I wouldn't have had to go through what I've gone through. But at the same time, going through things is what makes you who you are. So I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of what I've done in my past.
Well, listen, bro, you're a good ass dude, and you have come a long way. And the reason why I even like to ask you these questions and obviously had you on the podcast is because I'm not sitting here and saying that he's like some degenerate fucking loser who like is like a criminal or something.
I'm a pretty normal guy.
Like, I think my point is that a lot of people knew you growing up, and I think you were a completely different person than you are who you are now. And I wanted to ask you those questions just so like people can kind of understand a little bit more about you and like, you know, a little bit about like your why and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's so important. And not, if you go out, you're not a bad person. If you go out and drink, you're not a bad person. If you go out, like, I'm a DJ for Christ's sake. Like I'm not saying that, but it's also important to have these conversations because.
Right. And I think a big thing at this age, at how old are you? 26?
26, yeah.
24, 25, 26. Like, everyone's still drinking. You know, you can go out and drink. But I think a lot of the thing with how we grew up with being around these substances and how people do this and that is like, it's okay to like take a break from it and step yourself away from things like that.
Yeah.
Never be afraid to ask people for help, and always realize that, you know, sometimes people's help does have an expiration date. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
You can't take people's time for granted. That's something this last 6 months has been embedded in my head. You just can't take people's time for granted. Not even your own. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's good to acknowledge that stuff too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people are afraid to have these conversations and afraid to acknowledge there's certain things, like how valuable your time is, or like how you may have made mistakes, or like, or anything like that. And like I said, like, I think my apology to you was a long time coming, because it's a conversation we never had, because it was something I always avoided. And it's because it's something that happened in the past, and like
we were already beyond it, and it was hard to bring it back up.
Yeah, exactly. And we're chilling now, we're good now, and we got
we're all right.
June 24th, we got a tailgate at Xfinity G lot, and I'm DJing PBR with the Bull after that, so pull up. And yeah, man, and Philly Lockdown Recipe is coming back. He's working, he's getting himself together and getting the brand back, and you know.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned for some things coming up this summer. You know, catering menus and different events that I plan on doing through different things, so keep an eye on it.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we were able to have this conversation, and
we'll have more. We'll have plenty more.
100%. So, some stuff off camera too, but but nah, seriously, man, thank you for coming on, brother. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you having me, dude. It was awesome. Yeah. Always a pleasure.
And everyone who knows us knows, you know, where we came from and our relationship at Temple, and just, you know, how things have changed, and for the better. You know, we're both doing our thing now, and we're both doing well, and you know, I love you, buddy.
Big things to come, man. Love you too, man.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoy this episode of The Loft. I'm KEV Nichols. That's Ty Fusetti. Peace, guys.
See ya.